Well, I couldn't not, could I? I couldn't not. We're here. We're here at Newcastle. Yep, I've made the move. We've left Brentford. For those of you who are watching this for the first time, hello, I'm Tom. Nice to meet you. I started a save with Brentford in the FM22 beta because I thought it'd be quite fun to play as a newly promoted team to the Premier League and see how well we could do. We did great actually. We missed out on European football on the final day of the season, which was very agonising, but a 9th place finish is very respectable. However, the big thing in not just Football Manager, but world football is that Newcastle United got taken over by some Saudi owners. And in the game, they got a budget of £200 million, which should make them easy title, not title favourites, but title contenders, you'd think, with that sort of budget. Well, you'd be wrong because they got relegated, as you can see here. When we came 9th, Newcastle got relegated. This was after they spent £250 million. I don't understand how they've managed this. So heading into the 22-23 season, Newcastle, with their huge money and budgets, are going to be in the Championship. And that just seemed like an offer too good to refuse. So we're here now at Newcastle, ready to take over, ready to sign players for stupid money, win the Championship, and then probably go on to win the Premier League because I'm that good at the game, obviously. So the date is the 25th of May. The Premier League season has only just finished pretty much. We've got plenty of time to reshape this team, sell players, buy players, and build a team that we know is going to be good. Now, we don't quite have £200 million to spend. You can see here on the overall balance, the club had about £230 million in its bank balance and then spent lots of it on players and then got relegated. They spend over £2 million per week on wages, which we're going to have to try and address at some point. And we've got £53 million left to spend on players for the coming season. Also, we are apparently going to fail financial fair play. What's the story behind this? So we're not allowed to make a loss of more than £15 million over a 48-month period. Currently, the board are projected to lose £151 million. Well, let's see what players we've got. We can try and sell some to try and not lose £151 million, but I think this is going to be very difficult to not fail financial fair play. This could mean a points deduction, or worse still, a transfer embargo, supposedly. If neither promoted nor relegated, a transfer embargo will be imposed. So it's either get promoted or relegated, which could be realistic, or we get a transfer embargo. Hello, Editing Tom here. Just a quick little reminder for you right at the start of today's video because I was too excited to say it right at the start of this one. Make sure you do drop a like on this one for me and subscribe to the channel. If you're new around here, of course, this is kind of technically the start of a new series. So the more likes it gets and the more interactions it gets, the better it is for me and my channel and the algorithm. So would massively appreciate some likes and comments on this one. And also, whilst we're talking about transfer specials, there's one place you can go to get all the real-life transfer information, and that, of course, is the One Football app, the best football app out there to keep up to date with all the latest football news, scores, and updates from around the world. And they do have a really good dedicated transfer area as well to keep up to date with all the actual big transfer news, contract renewals, and all the biggest rumours too, so you can try and stay one step ahead of everything. You can download the One Football app for absolutely free from the top line of the description, and it really helps me and the channel out. Either way, let's look at this team. Sorted by current ability. Best player, supposedly Nicholas Sula, who they must have bought last season. They did for £20 million from Bayern Munich. And he's a quality centre-back. He's really pacey, 6'5", great heading. How have they got relegated with him? St. Maximin is also still in the team. He was clearly the high point, 4 goals and 15 assists last season, helping Raul Jimenez, another signing there for them. They must have paid a lot of money for Raul Jimenez. £72 million for a 30-year-old Raul Jimenez to get 8 league goals. He got 12 in all competitions, but that's not great, really, is it? They've got Luca Dean as well from Everton, right? £49 million they spent on him. What were they playing at with their money? Almiron is still there at the club, looking pretty decent on that left wing. It's a shame. Well, he can play through the middle, can't he, Almiron? As a shadow striker. Okay. Arturo Vidal's in there, 35 years old. They must have bought him for £1.5 million from Inter. Okay. I mean, maybe not the greatest of signings on 61 grand a week. They've got Diego Carlos as well, who they brought in from Sevilla for £37 million. Again, they've got 2 really solid centre-backs. I don't know why they got relegated. If we sort it by wages, Paulinho is at the top. They obviously got him on a free transfer because he's free at the start of the game. And whilst he is okay, he's a good player, right? And he'd be great in the Championship. £125,000 a week? I don't know about that. Also, £110,000 for Raul Garcia from Bilbao at 35 years old. And he got a 6.6 last season. I think there's certainly a few players that need to leave the club. And then I guess a bit further down, right, we've got all the other usual targets of a Newcastle team. I think we can turn this team all the way around. Now, because we've been relegated, it's going to be difficult to sign some top quality players. I've got onto the scout reports here, or the scouting list, whatever you want to call it. I've sorted it by transfer value, and the best player that maybe wants to come to us, or at least most expensive, is going to be Fabio Silva, who's obviously a wonder kid, but he's not quite Haaland yet. But I do think there are some probably decent players around here. Like Kazawa is interested. We had him last season at Brentford. He was by far the best player that we had. Will be expensive though, but does want to come to the club and will only want a reasonable wage. Ismail Assar from Watford, that's not a bad shout, you know. He's a pretty decent player around. There are some good players like hanging around here that might want to come to us, but it's going to take a bit of convincing to get some top names here. If we just adjust this to go to unsure, not even just, you know, want to come to the club. If we change to unsure, it doesn't really change the list that much. Okay, before we look into any transfers then, let's just try to plan out a little bit of what we've got, what we need to get rid of, and what we need to bring in. And to do that, I think we need to start getting players into a formation. And I think just as a very base, simple formation, a 4-2-3-1 wide is probably a good option to go for. We have Raul Jimenez up front, right, who is absolutely fantastic as a striker. We can play ASM, right, on the left-hand side of the pitch. We can put through the middle, who is really Almiron through the middle, not as a playmaker, but as a shadow striker. He'd be quite good. Maybe Jimenez as a deep-lying forward on attack. Those two combine quite nicely. On the other side of the pitch, we've not really got many options at right wing. Ryan Fraser, supposedly the best player on that right wing. We could certainly do better than him, I think. Obviously, we know, actually, already at the back, we have two great defenders in Nicolas Sula and in Diego Carlos, who I think is left-footed. No, he's not right-footed. That's annoying. He's only got a reasonable left foot. What is the left foot of Sula? Tactics. He's got a very strong, a fairly strong left foot, so that's fine. Swap those two over. Sula plays on the left. In the wing-back roles, we don't really have anyone decent wing-back-wise. We've got Isaac Hayden, so he's the best of a bad bunch, maybe. Left back, I imagine, is Luca Dean. Obviously, they spent a lot of money on him, but you could easily do better than him. And then in goal, they just have crap keepers, really. I mean, Dubravka's good in real life, but Football Manager don't seem to rate him that highly. And then when it comes to centre mids, we do have Paulinho, we do have Raul Garcia, we do have Arturo Vidal, but they're all pretty old, on big money. I don't think they're that good. So my priority right now would probably be to get out the big spenders, or the big earners, I should say, in the centre of midfield, and a new right back and a keeper, and then try and build the team from there. So, although they are good players, they're 33 and 35, they're going to get worse, and they're eating up a big chunk of our wage budget. I mean, we've got 2.1 million to spend on wages per week, and yet we're overspending right now. Put this into context, we are currently the 8th biggest spenders in the Premier League in terms of wages, on £94 million a week, which is a lot of money. If we drop into the Championship, we'd be head and shoulders clear of anyone else in there by a good 70 million nearly. So this does need to come down, and I think immediately we just need to try and offer these guys out. And the trouble is, I don't know if anyone's going to actually want to buy them because they're so old and on such big contracts. Immediately, Paulinho is not happy with me. He wants to know why I'm offering out to other clubs. It's because you're on so much money, mate. So much money. But we might not have to worry about it, because West Brom have put a £7.5 million bid in. I'll be honest, we just get him out the club. Just get him out the club. Please. Thank you. Bilbao making a £1.2 million bid for Raul Garcia. Did he come from Bilbao? Was it Sevilla? No, Bilbao. I mean, this is just easy. It's printing money for Bilbao, this. They sold him for 2.2 million. They're going to buy him back for £1 million less. Yeah, do it. Please. Take him off our wage bill. I will discuss it with Paulinho. He does deserve an explanation, though. We need to save money, lads. You're on too high a wage to keep in the club, I'm afraid. The finances have to be the priority here. And he says, I want a perfectly reasonable wage. In what world is £125,000 a week reasonable? Sorry, mate, but you are going to have to accept it here, and he's furious at me. Good. Be furious at me. Leave the club if you're that furious. There's also a few players who are unhappy at the club right now. Carl Darlow being one of them, a goalkeeper, on 30 grand a week. Yeah, if you're that unhappy, lad, get out of here. There's this guy here called Brace Mendes, who is a right winger, 25. Actually could be okay as an inverted winger. On 66... Did they buy him? Of course they did. Of course they bloody bought him for 34 million. He's not worth 34 million. In what world is that 34 million pounds worth of player? I don't know. He does look handy though. He does look handy. So maybe he's the better option than Ryan Fraser. Paulinho also wants 1.2 million pound in compensation due to lack of earnings. I mean, to be fair, that is only 10 weeks worth of his wages as opposed to another, what? How long's he got left in his contract here? Another 52 weeks. Go on then. Can we negotiate it first? Like, not 1.2, 750. He wants 1 million. 9 weeks worth of wages then, it's fine. Get out of here. Annoyingly, no one wants Carl Darlow though, and that's part of the issue. He's on an awful lot of money and he's not very good. Luckily, Raul Garcia does not want to have any sort of compensation deal. He's off. He's off to Bilbao. So thank you very much for your contributions in getting relegated, Raul Garcia. We will never see you again. And now Paulinho has accepted his payoff from us to leave the club. Stealing money from us, basically. But he's gone to West Brom. Go. Be gone with you. West Brom did just get promoted, by the way, so it's not like he's going to a championship rival. He's going to a Premier League team now. But already, I've just saved the club £250,000 a week in wages, nearly. Easy. Actually, looking through the rest of the team, it's a big squad, by the way, but there is so much trash in this team. So much rubbish. And they're all on such big wages. I mean, Dwight Gale on 35 grand a week. Actually, it doesn't look like he's leaving the club because he's moving to Middlesbrough. Gillespie's moving to Middlesbrough too. But I can't see any of the deals for other players leaving just yet. I think all these players down here, though, towards this bottom end of the list, from Freddie Woodman down, the star ratings are terrible. They're on huge wages. Get them out. And essentially, we will just accept any bid. We don't want to pay wages, though. So Blackburn, who want 5 grand a week in this team. Is that Gremio in Brazil? Yeah, it looks like Gremio in Brazil to me. We are going to reject both. They're bigger offers, but we will reject them because I don't want to pay wages. We will accept the other ones from Racing Club and Bordeaux. I'll tell you who could fit the bill at right back, though. Mads Roslov. We had him at Brentford. And he was solid last season for us. He got 11 assists in the league in the end, which was one of the high ends of the table, actually. Yeah, literally, joint 4th in Premier League assists with 11. I never gave him a new contract because he wanted one. I never gave him one. So he's unhappy at the club. Available for 7.5 to 9.25 million, a fairly reasonable wage. This could be our first signing, you know. This could be our first signing. Let's bring it down to 5 million. Suggest that. They say no. Basically, they want an improved deal. Let's go back to 7.5 then and make that offer. There's a good chance, to be fair, that he just isn't. There's a good chance we could find someone better than him, but, you know, why not? Why not raid the old club? Also, we are getting some decent scout reports coming through. I've been scouting out a few players, and they're not necessarily in positions that we need, but Gabriel Vernon is absolutely superb. 19-year-old winger. Would be happily able to join us for a very reasonable fee of $500,000 to $5 million. What? Transfer, make an offer. Let's put $1 million on the table and see what they say. They say 2.3 and then 2.1 and then 200,000 after 10 international appearances. That's nothing. Profit from next sale, well, by the time we finish this save, I don't think we'll have sold him. So this seems reasonable. If we could bring it down to 2 million and then bring that down to 1.5, deal. Or, thinking of players to loan for the season, Nico Williams from Liverpool. Maybe not quite as fast as we would like, but very good crossing, very good dribbling. That's what we want to have from our wing-backs. A loan for a season is not a bad shout. 10 grand a week in wages, £62,000 a week in playing, so that's going to be $500,000 over the course of a season, give or take a little bit. Optional fee, 12 million. That seems quite reasonable down the line if he has a very good season. I feel like I'm being very quick with some of these, but, you know, when we've got the money that we've got, and we are trying to really overhaul this team, I think this works quite nicely. And Gabriel Vernon wants a very reasonable contract to be a fringe player as well. I think he'd actually be a starter, I think, knowing how good he is at the start of the game. So fringe player works for me. Negotiate a contract on, he wants 17, let's bring it down to like 15 grand a week, but on a 4-year deal. Let's get rid of these future wage rises though, because we don't like giving chances for our players to earn more money. Top promotion wage rise, get rid of that. So actually, the wage might have to go back up to about 17.5 grand a week after all of this. Bump the agent fee up so his agent convinces him that this is a great deal to take. I think we could be on to something here. We're not. Oh. We'll come back in for him. Give it 2 or 3 weeks, he will forget about everything that's happened and he'll be willing to talk to us again. Brentford want 10 million for Mads Roslov. I don't like that deal. Get rid of the percentage of next sale. Bring this down to 8 million. Suggest 9.5, 1.6. Get rid of that. 8.5. £400,000 per league appearance. That's an extra 4 million. No. 9. 9.5. We could maybe do that. They say yes to it. Okay, accept that. We know he's class. The thing is, we know he's good because we had him at Brentford and he came 4th in Premier League assists over the course of the season. So I am happy to have him and pay the money basically for him. Also, the bid for Nico Williams is accepted, so that could be 2 great right backs coming in. But players are now starting to leave the club. Isaac Hayden getting out the club. Brilliant. See you later, you loser. Sorry, Isaac, actually, that felt a bit harsh. I'm sure you're not. I mean, you're not. You're a Premier League footballer. And to complement Mads Roslov, Nico Williams will come in as well. Let's just compare the 2 of these guys. We don't know much about him. We do know about him. Just ranges. I imagine Mads Roslov is better. If we look at the... Well, saying that, we only have a solid reading on his defending for Nico Williams, and that's better. Either way, I think it's a good loan signing for us, so let's bring him in. And then we have 2 solid options at right back next season, which I don't think Newcastle had last season. Already, I've come in and I've made 2 sensible decisions. I'm a genius. I'm also looking down just the scout reports that we should be getting anytime soon, and this guy, Kelechi Nakali, is like quite a decent playmaker. I mean, we can see here advanced playmaker attributes in the attacking midfield. I'd rather play a bit deeper, probably. But vision's good, passing's good, first touch is good, agility is good. I mean, everything that he needs is good, to be fair. And he would be available for 17 million because that, I think, is his release fee clause. It is. And last season, 10 assists, 5 goals, 6 player of the matches, 7.39 average rating as Huesca made their way into the Spanish second division champions. Not even the top division. I mean, he's still at the club right now, waiting to leave to go to wherever he's going, West Brom, right? But if we just compare him, defensively, Paulino's better. We understand that. Mentally, he's better because he's 33 years old. In the air, he's better because he's the same height. That doesn't quite make sense. But, you know what? For a young player, I don't think that's bad. I think we keep him on the radar. No bids just yet. And because his wage demands are almost £100,000 less than Paulinho, it makes him such a better person to bring in. Lascelles also set to go to Brighton, 2.7 million. That's another deal out the window, and £55,000 per week saved on that one. £40,000 on Kieran Clark being saved per week as well, and £500 a week saved on this little kid. Cheers, lad. And then to top it off, £37,500 a week being saved on Fabian Schär. It's not really massively improved our transfer budget because we are only getting 65% of revenue from the transfers that we make. So only £58 million actually right now. So we still need to be a bit careful. So we can't just splurge on Sander Berge, for example, which rhymes quite nicely. He's a playmaker who doesn't really have a weakness in his game at all, does he? Comparing him with Kelechi, he is a lot better. Kelechi may be slightly better going forward, but as an all-round player, Sander Berge is better. Now, ignore this bit in the middle. I think the scouts are kind of lying here a little bit. I think Sander Berge probably is the better of the 2. And although it does now say that the estimated cost for Kelechi is 4.3 to 5.5 million, but if I hover over it, it then says 18 to 27. What about on Sander Berge? Yeah, 18 to 27. Kelleche's release fee clause was... No, 17, wasn't it, for Kelleche? They both look good. Let's just put some feelers out. Like, what sort of price would they be looking at for these players? Like, if we put £10 million on the table for Sander Berge, suggest they want 23, and then 21 down the line, I'm not willing to pay 45 million, which makes you think the deal for Kelleche, although he's not as good defensively, is so much better. But they're suggesting 4.3 to 5.6 million. Don't even spend the £17 million release fee clause. 4.3 to 5.6 is good. So if we put 4.5 on the table, wow. Oh, they want an extra 2 million. How about 5 million then? And get rid of that and suggest they want 6.25, 5.5. Brill. I think that's a deal done then. Also just been alerted to Jean-Manuel Mbom, which I'm probably saying all wrong. He is a ball winner. And I do enjoy a good ball winner. Scouts are doing some good work, by the way, today. I've not had to really properly search. I just sort of told my scouts to scout the top 100 people on that list that we showed right at the start. And they're doing some good work. I feel like they're being a bit overambitious with giving him 5-star current ability. But we don't really have many centre mids in the team. Now, will he get a work permit? There's nothing that says he won't get a work permit and would likely gain one. Okay, that's good. Had a pretty decent season last time out for Werder Bremen. More defensive role. It's hard to get better ratings in a defensive role, but still 3 goals, 3 assists, 7 rating. Like, that's good. As a ball winner, technicals are never going to be that good. But his physicals and mentals are solid, to be fair. Marking's a bit low. I'll give him that. That's not great. But if that's his only weakness, we can improve him. I'd maybe compare him to Vidal, but it might be a little bit harsh comparing him to Vidal. Because Vidal's mentals are skyrocketed, right? But he's a ball winner. So if we just compare the two of them, how bad is it if we just look at the overview here? I think it was always going to be obvious that the physicality and the speed were always going to be in Mbom's favour, right? Vision is about the same, but they're both defensive. I mean, obviously Vidal's better. But if we can pick Mbom up for cheap and get him tutored by Vidal, I don't know. How much? I mean, we could just start. He's valued at 900k to 10 million. That's not a great indication. How much do they want for him? 4.5, and then down the line a bit more. If we said 6 and 30% in the future, they say yes to that. For the understudy to Vidal, I think that's all right, you know. The scouts are coming through, to be fair. They're finding some good players here, and I'm liking a look at this Samu guy. Centre mid. Playmaker, Mazzala. Very good work rate, vision. Good stamina. Good passing. He's wanted by Norwich and Tottenham. I mean, let's just feel it out a little bit. They want 12 million. Basically, with those per league appearances on there. Let's get rid of that. Push up to 9 million. They accept that. I've also now got to meet the players. Great. Okay. Introduce myself to the team. Right. Hello, I'm a new manager, lads. I'm making 0 promises. Because I was about to make the promise I won't stand in your way. But I have literally just seen the message after this is Man United making a bid for St. Maximin. So I won't make any promises. But we should be champions this year, lads. And no one really cares. And in fact, they don't care that much. They finished the meeting for me. Okay. Also, I'm being told that Colon are delaying a decision on Tottenham's £4.9 million for Facundo Ferreira, who is... Well, I don't know who he is, but I can see 20, 20, 19, 20, 19. I mean, they could be 13, 13, 12, 13, 12, but... I'm just seeing players, and there's no real plan at the moment. I'm just buying players I like the look of. But Man United are bidding £45 million for ASM, rising to 60. He's so good, though. He is so good. Saying that, we could sell him. We have a ton of money, and we have Almiron to play on that left-hand side, who's nowhere near as good as dribbling, but is fast. Could we persuade him to stay? Man United want you. Why do you want to join them? Obvious reasons, I think, so I can convince you to stay. Want to test myself at the highest level. They play in a better division. Have to take this chance. Okay. I mean, I might try and, put some doubts in his head. You're not going to get as much football as you might want at Man United. Can't believe you're trying to block my dream move. I think we take the money then. I think we take the money. I'll sell you. We'll accept it. We'll take the money. Get him gone. Just informing you that he is considering himself transfer listed. I mean, lad, I literally said I'd sell him. You don't have to do this. I said I'd sell him. I'm getting caught off guard as well by all of these, like, Burnley have made an offer for Marco Blatt, but they're deciding if they're going to accept it or not. And then I look on the players and I keep seeing these, like, just estimates. Just very tiny estimates of being 13 to 20, 12 to 19. I think, wow, this guy could be amazing. But it's 2.9 million. I mean, let's just slap 3 million on the table. Nothing wrong with that, right? Just slap 3.3 on the table. Nothing wrong with that. But one player we are certain we want to join the club is Mads Roslov. So he's the first permanent signing that we're making. You'll love to see it. And then the deal for Marco Blatt has been accepted. He wants to be And then the bid for Marco Blatt has been accepted. He wants to be a breakthrough prospect, though, which makes me think he's probably not actually that good. But we're here now. The worst case scenario, he goes out on loan, doesn't he? In his 10 grand a week contract is hopefully what he will accept from all of this. Remove those and that. He won't like this at all, I don't think. 16, how about 12 and a half, please? I meant 13. Yeah, there we go, good. But in the meantime, Mbom, ready to sign for us. 6 million. Yes, please. And he comes in and looks pretty good, actually. I will say, like, nothing hugely stand out. But I do think he will come in to be a solid... We've obviously got the playmaking side of the centre mid, but we also need the more defensive side of the centre mids, and he fills that criteria. So whether we play him or Vidal, we don't know yet. It might be more him, because I want to get him trained up and playing well for the Premier League, hopefully next season. But he's got a good tutor in Vidal. Also, Jacob Murphy set to leave the club. 35 grand a week in wages, saved. Oh, this is quite good. Kelleche's waiting on a work permit, which means that he must have chosen us over Fulham and Norwich in the Premier League. We still have some pull to us, We're Newcastle United in the Championship, but we still have some pull over Premier League teams. Annoyingly, though, we have lost a player. Samu has gone to Norwich instead, which is okay. He was a playmaker. Hopefully we'll get Kelleche instead. And we might be losing Facundo Ferreira because he's going back to Liverpool to seek further negotiations because he's got better offers from elsewhere. We can't... Maybe he just rejected us. We can't change our contract offer. Which does suggest... Oh, because he's already signed for Liverpool. ASM, though, is waiting for a work permit to go to United, though. So it looks like he will be leaving the club. It's 45 million, though, rising to 60. There he is, set to go. It's a lot of money. We save a lot in wages, and we get a lot of transfer budget back, and we lose, well, maybe the best player in the team. But when you get relegated, that's what is expected to happen. And we are rebuilding. And we'll just buy loads of wonder kids instead. So he's gone. 45 million. And potential issue with Vidal, who doesn't like that, obviously. We'll discuss the issue with him and just say, hello, mate. The finances were too good to turn down. You can't put a price. I did. So deal with it, mate. And if you can't deal with it, you'll be off too. We brought a new guy in, and he might replace you. But it does now mean £73 million to spend on players. Ooh, this is good. Also, that is a record for Newcastle too. Andy Carroll, 35 million to Liverpool. What a steal that was. Amazing. It's also been 3 weeks since Gabriel Vernon rejected us. So let's go back in for him again. They keep saying that every offer is unacceptable, which I don't like. But Kelleche is here, so that sort of, takes away the pain of Samu not signing for us. So Kelleche's here, who was always our first choice anyway, probably, mainly. It's £5 million for a player with great first touch, great passing, great technique, great vision. What else do you need to be a playmaker? We'll play him in the middle as a playmaker. You'll love to see it. Hang on, what's this? The squad are unhappy with my treatment of Vidal. What treatment? I just told him to get over it because the deal for ASM was so good. It was a club record transfer fee. and we just got relegated. We had to do it. And I can guarantee if we didn't sell him, they'd come to me right now saying, we're crossed that you're not letting him leave the club because he wants to go to Man United. Let him go. At least Nicolas Sula was in my corner. I like that. Just remember, you lads, I've got the power to sell you. All of you. Right, let's have a chat then. There's a few murmurs of discontent. What's going on here then? We think you shouldn't have sold Alan St. Maximin. And we're owed an explanation. I'll give you the same explanation I gave to Vidal, shall I? In fact, no, I won't. I'll say the truth. You know, the financial deal was good, but also he made it clear he wanted to leave the club. I couldn't stand in his way. That doesn't cut it. Well, what do you want me to do? So when you lads want to leave the club to go to a Premier League team, what do you want me to do? Just tell you can't go? I'm going to kick the chair. I'm kicking the chair and I'm going to say I'm very disappointed in you pricks. And they look let down, disappointed. We'll see how you feel when I sell you. And yes, the bid for Vernon has been rejected, even though it's the same as it was last time, which was more than it was the time before that. 2.8 million. Right. I don't get this. £5 million, and he's happy to talk to us again now. As a squad player, great. Negotiate the contract, which is smaller than it was last time. I am still going to get rid of these future wage things, but I'm going to push his wage up to 22 grand a week. 25 grand a week. Suggest. Happy. Good. Come to the club, please. Right. It's a new day. New clothes, obviously, because I'm not a slob. Can I remember where I left off yesterday? But annoyingly, Almiron has now torn his abs. I do remember ASM left the club and Almiron is meant to be our new left winger. I think he might miss the start of the season here. But once again, the scouts seem to be coming through clutch because right at the top of his list is some bloke who I can't pronounce. He's from America de Cali, so he plays in Colombia and he's Colombian, right? Very cheap. Could be really good if he's at the upper limit of these attribute guesses. Probably need to get full knowledge on him first. But I'm sure there's plenty of other players out there that we could try and sign. Also, by the way, look at this. Brentford, the biggest overachievers in the Premier League last season. That's me. I did that. Biggest underachievers, Newcastle. It's time to make them overachievers. Oh, and if things weren't good enough already, here's £41 million in parachute payments. So the bank balance all of a sudden looks absolutely fantastic again. I'm enjoying this. Still going to fail financial fair play though. We are still predicted to make a £55 million loss. Even though we've sold players, even though we've cut down the wages, even though we had £41 million in parachute payments, this is still quite bad. Although that's only projected. Looking at this bit down here. Because it does say current 1.26. So we are projected to... we might turn it round. Oh, I did not realise this. I mean, this is pretty decent, to be fair, actually. Loads and loads of players have got a 45% relegation wage drop in their contract clause. And loads play 25% as well for a lot of... Wow, hang on a sec. How much money are we saving now per week? Oh, wow, wages have really dropped for some of these big earners like Luca Dean, Raul Jimenez, who are on like 100,000 nearly. Like they're down to 74. How big of an impact has this had on our weight? Wow. Down from, I mean, we're about 1.7. It's now 1.1 million. And we have 68 million still to spend. Okay, we could look to bring in some big names now. Well, I say that, big names that actually want to sign for the club, which probably aren't many. Marco Blatt, he is set to sign for us, the 20-year-old midfielder from Dinamo. Brilliant, let's get him into the club. Maybe not the greatest current ability right now. I feel like we've been a little bit done over by that. But he's a good player for the future, 5-star potential. And I think it's just now Gabriel Vernon we are waiting on. He should sign, but the 1st of July, that's when everyone leaves and everyone joins the club if they've not left or joined already. So let's assess the gaps in the team then. Obviously up front, we're going to have Raul Jimenez. And then on the left wing, we said Almiron. But actually looking at this, maybe he's not quite the right fit. Although saying that, he's only got a left foot, hasn't he? So he's more of a winger. So actually, we could swap this to be winger on support maybe. Inside forward and attack on the right-hand side. But he's also probably quite good as a shadow striker too, through the middle. Although finishing it, leave him on the wing. for now. He could be an option at shadow striker, but we could find someone else better. I think Gabriel Werner will play on the right-hand side when he joins, so we'll leave those two places empty. Probably, it's going to be Vidal or Mbom through the middle. Let's pop Vidal in there right now because he's probably going to start alongside our new playmaker in Kelechi Nakali. We'll put him in there as well. Luka Dean left back. Right back, obviously, Mads Roslov. We'll then play Sula on the left. We've got Diego Carlos in the middle. And we could probably do with another better keeper than Santos, potentially. And then I'm starting to fill out the bench in the backup positions as well. So backup keeper, backup right back. It's basically following the same system as up here as well. So you can see where the gaps are. Currently, I'm not happy with our backup centre-backs or left-back, or our backup centre attacking midfielder. But Nico Williams as a backup right back, we've got Mbom as a backup ball winner, we've got Joe Willock as a backup deep line playmaker, Mendes as a backup right wing, Fraser as a backup left wing, Callum Wilson as a backup striker. So we do need to bring in quite a few players. Arthur Masuaka is available. I feel like he's probably quite a good left back. He's fast, I know that. Supposedly leading for the championship and likely to improve. I think that's maybe a little bit hard done by there. His last season, well, maybe wasn't great. Thing is, he's cheap at 2.6 million. That's the thing. Much cheaper than Kazawa would be if we brought him in. Melvin Bard could be £6 million or so, but we don't know much about him yet. Although what we do know looks relatively decent. The scouts are suggesting he's a championship level player. Do we take a punt? Make an offer? 6 million? Which they like. Went too high, you hate to see it. Goalkeepers are going to be a bit of an issue, I think. We might just have to deal with the keepers that we've got. We don't know much about any keepers right now. We need to do more scouting on them. I do want to bring in some more centre-backs. And hang on, has James Tarkowski been let go? He's been let go. Right, well, James Tarkowski on a free. Great, squad player, that's fine. You're only going to be a backup player anyway, so maybe not on 62 grand a week. Let's bring that down to 45 on a 2-year deal. Get rid of that. Suggest. Look, we'll bring this down 50. 50 is what you're going to agree to here, mate. All right, James Tarkowski is a great addition. I mean, Jesse Lingard is available on a free. I mean, I think that could be good for us, you know. I mean, his season wasn't great for United, but I think he'd do very well in the Championship. And at 29 years old, still pretty good. Regular starter. He wants to have some, or wants to be a shadow striker. So that's good for us, because that's the role we'd play him in, right? So we can suggest all of that. We might be Newcastle. We might have loads of money, but we're not spending £235,000 a week on him. The most we can offer is 180. And he's gone down 5 grand a week. Right, well, sorry, Jesse. We'd pay that sort of money for Haaland or for Mbappe, not for Jesse Lingard. We could go all out on this Luca Romero guy from Lazio. He's more of a winger. But if his finishing is up to 17, he would be a fantastic shadow striker. But we'll scout him out a little bit more first. The bid for Bard, though, has been accepted, so let's get this one all sorted out quickly. 16 grand. Let's bring it down to like 15 if we can. Get rid of some of these wage rise things. And he's not going to be too happy with it, but 16.5 is a good deal. Brighton wants Sula on loan. Never happening. And he doesn't even want to go there. So, right, reject that. Brill. And also, Gabriel Werner now been given a work permit, which is great. So, he is also coming in to be a right winger for us this season. Maybe not quite as good as we maybe thought he was going to be. But I think will be good for the Championship at least. And obviously has a lot of potential. All Leipzig, though, putting 24 million on the table for Nicolas Sula. He's got a release fee clause of 47 million, so I'd rather wait for clubs to trigger that if we're going to lose him. So I will reject it. As Bard, we have to wait for a work permit for, but Tarkowski is here. Big signing. Another work permit has been agreed, and Melvin Bard also here. Excellent. Am I being a bit harsh on some of these players down who aren't like in the team right now? Who's not there that maybe could be there? Sean Longstaff. He's an option in the midfield. Okay. Sean Longstaff, just because We've got better centre mid standing, but he can stay at the club. Matty Longstaff's got a bit of potential, so we'll keep the Longstaff brothers around. They can play football, it's okay. Javi Manquillo, though, is of course not going to be playing for us at all this season, so actually we can offer you to clubs immediately. Woodman, Hendrick and Ritchie can all go, I think. You know what, actually, yeah, they can. I'm going to transfer, where can I find transfer, offer to clubs for transfer. And clubs are making pretty reasonable bids for him, so we will accept all of those for Javi, accept those. Portsmouth want Woodman for basically nothing, but go on, get him out of the club, save the wages. Bids me for Hendrick. Anderlecht deal, not very good. The other ones are quite good though, so we will accept both of those. Matt Ritchie, reject Dinamo Moscow because they're not very good, but we get £1 million more from Pauk and Young Boys. There's also potentially an option in the attacking midfield of Alberto Moliero, currently playing for Las Palmas, 18 years old. We don't know huge amounts about him, but fundamentally for a shadow striker, finishing is going to be decent. First touch will be decent too. Movement maybe not quite so good physically, but he's got some good flair, some good vision particularly. Not that that's too important for a shadow. I think actually, looking at this, the ranges for an 18-year-old are pretty good because he will improve quite... I know we have to... I'm being a bit hesitant here. £8.5 million release fee clause. Okay, let's pay that then. And he wants to do a deal. I am conscious that we are running out of time until the start of the season, but negotiating with this guy, we kind of do have to rush around a little bit. He wants a lot of stuff in here. Release fee clauses, landmark bonuses, wage rises. If we can get rid of the release fee clause and the wage rise, put this up to 35 grand a week. He likes that. Also, loads of scout reports are still coming through, but we never get a full picture of them because we're trying to scout so many people right now. It's getting a little tricky to get a full picture on them. But there are two, by looks of things, left-footed centre-backs here for reasonable prices. I'm going to ask to fully scout them, although I can't because they're being scouted out already. Okay, still. This guy at Salzburg, 19 years old from Mali, 6'1". We know his jumping reach is going to be decent. We know his heading could be 9. That could be quite poor. Crucially, a left-footed tall centre-back, young, with potential. The scouts say he's one for the future, signing whatever the price. Playing for Salzburg, and Salzburg usually make good signings. Got very good ratings last season, albeit only 6 games. I mean, we are YOLOing everything right now, aren't we? 5 million on the table. They want 575 and $1 million after 50 league appearances. How about 5 and then that 1 million there? Good, deal, sorted. I mean, we could afford both of them, to be fair. We could afford both of them, particularly when this guy wants 2 or 3 grand a week. I mean, yeah. Whatever contract you want, lad, we'll give it to you. Absolutely, whatever you want. This guy's playing hardball, though, and he wants to join Burnley as well, and which does suggest he might be a better player if he wants more money. How about £35,000 a week, no release fee clause, and get rid of those weight, so maybe 40. This guy's way more expensive. He doesn't like my offer. 54 grand a week. How about 45? Is that? I think we might just offered him 45, if I'm honest with you. He wants 52, 46 and a half. Okay. Jeff Hendrick then, set to leave the club to Stad Rennes for 24, I wish, £2.4 million. So that's one player leaving as Callum Wilson's out for a few days, but Ritchie set to go to Pauk for 2.2 million. So players starting to leave the club, which is good. We just need people to start accepting more contracts for us, and then we can get them before the start of the season. Waiting for a work permit on the guy from Salzburg, but again, we need the scouts to start working quicker on this. The thing is, though, they are both cheap players, and one's an expensive contract, one's not an expensive contract. I mean, and we could just sign them both, as we sign Alberto, the attacking playmaker, or the shadow striker, the advanced midfielder. Attacking midfielder, that's the word I was looking for. He's come in and 18-year-old wonder kid, 5-star potential. This is what you love to see. Scouts are doing some good work out here today, and we'll play him through the middle as a shadow striker. He actually fits the shadow striker bill. Work rate could be worked on. Other than that, I think he's great through the middle. We could do with someone else in the attacking midfield, though. I'll be honest, Dele Alli's now available. I mean, we've got no reports apparently. Okay. But it's Dele Alli. 12 million. I mean, surely that feels reasonable. Like, we've got someone young in there, right, already in Alberto. Someone a bit older, more of a, an older head. Dele Alli could be okay. He will want a lot of money, though. That's part of the issue. Dele Alli's going to want a lot of money. And we're still not really seeing great keepers, I'll be honest. I think Santos might have to be the man we stick with this season. Maybe more scout reports coming through for Carboni. We still don't know fully him, though. We need to know more about him. But it does look like the scout reports are getting better. It was a C before, it's now a B+. Oh, I forgot we put the bid in for Dele Alli, didn't we? That was literally like 5 minutes ago. How have I forgotten that already? I don't know. But the contract's not as outrageous as I thought it was going to. Well, we haven't seen it yet. 81 grand a week. It would put him as one of the top earners at the club. If we can go 60, I could maybe get behind that. 62, 77, 64, 69 he wants. 65 grand a week. Done. I'll do it. We'll bring him in for that. Let's do it. Let's just bring them both in. We can afford it. Why not? Let's bring them both. Let's bring them both in. And I don't think we'll regret it. Because this guy has got 13 heading, 13 marking. Tackling and technique are pretty decent. Pace is good. Jumping reach is okay. He's 19. He will get a lot better than he is right now. And he's already valued at more than double what we bought him for. And on 3 grand a week. Apparently a wing back. I don't agree with that. He will be a centre back. Actually, I don't think he's that good at all. I kind of tried to talk myself into thinking he was good. His mentals were not there, really. Maybe that was a bit of a premature try and sign him. Carboni, though, we've got to wait 2 days for his work permit to be sorted out, though. And I think he actually is going to be a lot better. Oh, and Dele Alli. Dele Alli very quickly agreed that contract. He's coming to us. Welcome, Dele Alli. Welcome to the team. I think this is a pretty decent signing for Newcastle in the Championship. I think for Newcastle in real life, it would be a pretty decent signing. So I think we've done quite well here. And now he's here. Andrea Carboni. Well, we've got to accept it now. But here is Carboni. I just looked at the technicals and thought, wow, they're rubbish. But actually, where they matter for a centre-back, heading 15, marking 14, tackling 14, positioning 14. His pace is 12, a little slow maybe, but it's not the end of the world for him. I think fundamentally, on the basis of things, a very good centre-back. And he's already doubled in his value as well that we bought him for. So I think we are investing wisely. As I try and convince myself I have signed 2 good centre-backs. I don't think I'm actually feeling that, though. Also, I feel like I've just kind of like somehow ignored these transfer bids. I don't remember seeing these, but Real Madrid want Nicolas Soula 20 million. Hertha Berlin want him 16. I've got to reject them both, though, because it's not. He's cross now. He's cross. Jimenez. They've not met the release fee clause. Jimenez, can you sort it out for me first? If not, which he can't sort it out, we talk to Soula and we say you've got a release fee clause in your contract. He's not going to wait around. I'm gonna have to get cross with him here. I'm not. Can we give you more money? No. He just says no. Okay. Well, we're not on good terms with Nicolas Soula right now. And I'll be honest, if you're being trapped at Championship Newcastle when Real Madrid want you, I'd be pretty cross too. With that final transfer, we are days away from the start of the Premier League season against Barnsley. We'll do that one on an episode. I know someone's going to be very happy about that. There are still more players that I want to buy though, but we've run out of time in today's episode, so we'll do it in future ones. So we're going to bring the end to today's transfer special. And blimey, we've bought some players. So we got rid of, virtually everyone. So many players have left the club, as you can see. We've brought in Andrea Carboni, Dele Alli. I can't say this guy's. I'm going to have to try and learn this guy's name. Duda Guindo is probably not how you say it at all. I'll try and do some research maybe in the comment section. Alberto Malero, Santiago Munoz, Melvin Bard, James Tarkowski, Gabriel Vernon, Marco Blatt. And if we go back to technically last season, we also brought in Kelechi, Mbom, Mads Roslov and Nico Williams too. So we've done pretty well. Let me know if you think there's other players we should be signing down in the comments section below. But until next time, have a wonderful Saturday. And hopefully this comes out on Saturday now I've said that. It should do, as I've planned it to, but we'll see how it goes. Either way, thank you very much for watching. I will see you next time. Have a good one. Goodbye.